Alright Presley, it's Mike here from Mike's OG Academy. So thanks for doing the free video analysis, and let's kind of get into it. So I got a few lines drawn here. So the first one is the spine angle, so spine angle relative to the ground. Then I got your knee flex highlighted right here. I'm going to see if you're flexing your knees too much, are you standing too tall in the knees, simple stuff there, right? So the first thing we want to get into is the spine angle. So you're over at 147, we got Jen over 149. So you guys are pretty similar there within a 2-degree variance. I like that, that's pretty good there. Knee flex, you're at 152, Jin's over at 158, so that's what I'm starting to see, a little bit too big of a variance. So I think you could stand a little bit taller in the knees, that would help out. Now, so we do have your camera moving a little bit, so I can't keep these lines on yours. So I'm going to erase them, and we're kind of going to go from there. Anyways, so set up pretty good. I would just say stand a little bit taller in the knees, but everything looks pretty good to there. So let's take you up. Let's go over some positions real quick. So we got P1 is set up. Club shaft parallel to the ground is P2, or pretty much hands level to the hips. P3 is left arm parallel. P4 is top of the swing. P5 is left arm parallel on the downswing. P6 is pretty much hands level to the hips again, club shaft parallel. P7 is impact. P8 is hands level to the hips again. P9 is hands level to the shoulders. And then P10 is follow through, right? So pretty simple stuff there. Let's start getting into it. So I would say you have a pretty much an ideal takeaway to what I like to see. Hands outside, base club outside the hands. So enough radial hinge and all that good stuff. Takeaway is perfect. If we take a look at Jen's, in a pretty similar position to you, I would say maybe the club head's a slight bit more so this way than yours. But I mean, nothing really to, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Nothing serious there. Let's take you up to left arm parallel. We'll take Jen up to left arm parallel as well. You're doing a great job of getting this shaft inside ball target line, which I really like with my players. So that's good right there. I would say pretty ideal up to here. Let's get you up to P4. P4, what I look for basically is I like to see the left arm on shoulder line, which yours is. That's a good job there. I like to see the right forearm parallel to the spine, so you can maybe work that out a little bit. And I also like to see this right, basically elbow or right arm parallel to the ground. So you're doing a good job there. Your arm structure is pretty good. I probably wouldn't change too much about that. Let's get into left arm parallel on the downswing. So as we get you to left arm parallel to downswing, this is where we're starting to see some of the issues here. So first things first, let's take note of your hands. So you can see that your hands are pretty far, I would say, behind you, or more so towards your kind of your right obliques, correct? If we look at Jen's hand path, his has worked a little bit more out, correct? So your hand path is dropping a little bit more in, and I would say Jen's is working a little bit more out. Now, the reason why I think Jen's is working more out has to do with what he's doing with the club shaft. So as we take you down to left arm parallel, which is right here, there we go. If we draw a line on your club shaft, you're inside ball target line, so you're really steep at this point in the swing. Now, if we take a look at Jen's club shaft, he's pointing more outside ball target line, and again, he's parallel to his original shaft line. So his geometry is pretty good. So I would say you're intersecting, so the geometry is just a little bit off. Now, the reason why your hands like to drop the way it is, I think, is to help compensate for that steep shaft. Those two always go together. They kind of help neutral each other out. Now, when I see players that get this motion right here, I typically see them extend in the knees, and then they get that right shoulder really low to the ground. So let's see if we do, okay? So let's draw an angle here, and we're going to memorize. Run around 143 with the flexion of the knees. You can just think about flexion of how much your knees have bent. So you're at 143 there. Let's take you to impact. Yep, like I thought, right? So your left knee is extending quite a bit. You're all the way up at 168 at this point. So you've had like 20 plus degrees of change. Let's see if that right shoulder is getting pretty low. Look at that. We're getting that little steep shoulder line, which is matching up. It's kind of funny. Wherever someone's shaft kind of works on, the shoulder line is always parallel to it. So technically your geometry is matching right now. So what you're doing in transition, you're matching it with your body, which means you're athletic, is all I'm trying to say there, which is a good thing. But I think we need to change that. Now, the reason why I don't like this motion right here is because it starts messing around with swing direction and some other key factors of ball flight laws, okay? So let's kind of get into ball flight laws real quick. I'm going to draw an arrow right here. on the golf ball, basically where your club face was aiming. So this arrow right here is called the ball target line. So basically ball target line can be thought of as where is your club face pointing at setup. You currently are swinging to the right, so your swing direction is to the right with I don't know, maybe a 7-iron or something like that. Now here's kind of the issue that we start running into when I see swing direction go to the right. Whenever swing direction goes to the right and your attack angle is negative, or that means you're hitting down on the golf ball, your path is going to be probably more to the right than that because you're hitting down on the golf ball. So let's do a little math here. So if you're hitting down on the ball 4 degrees and your swing direction is +3 to the right, well, your path is +7. So if you have a +7 path, basically what that means is you're swinging 7 degrees to the right at the moment of impact. Now, the reason why we don't like big path numbers like +7, if it starts pointing a little bit too far left of that, you're going to really start overdrawing shots, or if it gets a little bit too far right, you're going to get big blocks that stay to the right, or you can get big blocks that even fade. So that's why we don't like to start messing around with that, because then you're going to have to start aiming way left, or you're going to have to start aiming way right if you're overdrawing. So that's why you always hear coaches and always hear players say they're trying to neutral out their path. They're trying to get their path a little bit closer to 0 so they don't have to worry about those big curvature type of shots. So that's ball flight laws, okay? So that was a little side tour right there. So let's kind of get back into what you need to start doing. So by this left arm parallel, we got to get this shaft laying down outside ball target line. So it's got to be pointing a little bit more this way. Now in turn, if we take a look at Jin's hand path, again, just like we stated earlier, his is a little bit more out in front of him. Yours is a little bit more behind you. So we're going to have to get your hand path more in front of you. And then we're going to have to, in turn, get this shaft laying down more so like this to where it's outside ball target line. Now, once you start doing that, you're going to have to change your leg work through impact. Notice how your legs are extending up like such. Well, you're going to feel like your legs stay a lot more bent when you're doing this. And you're also going to feel like your shoulders are exiting a little bit more lower and left. So I would say your shoulders are on a pretty steep incline right here, which again matches what you're doing. But if we change what you're doing in transition, the shoulders can't work the same, or else you're going to hit it really bad. Now let's take a look at Jin, and I'll talk to you a little bit about geometry real quick and how to get it matching, because we went over that for a touch. So anyways, with Jin, as he gets left arm parallel, we can see that club shaft is parallel to the original shaft line. Now let's get to impact. So impact, that club shaft is covered up by the original shaft line. Now let's key in on his shoulders right here and watch how they exit. So they're a lot lower and left than yours, right? His right shoulder is not as steep as yours are, or i.e. the shoulders are not more so this way. They're exiting a little bit more this way. Now this is where we get into geometry. Notice how that's parallel to the original shaft line. So his shoulder line is now parallel. That's geometry. Now look at this. Club shaft is exiting in between these two lines. That's another sense of geometry right there. So that's kind of what we're going to go for. The main points of this swing analysis, we're trying to get hand path working a little bit more out, more so like this, and we're going to get that club shaft laying down more so like that. Now while you do that, you're going to have to feel like your knees stay a little bit more in flexion, or they stay a bit longer, which will be the hardest part for you, I believe. And then once we get that, we're going to have to get the shoulders exiting a lot lower and left, not on this incline, more so on this incline is what they're going to feel like. And then you're going to get your geometry a little bit more like Jin, and you're going to start matching up with what you got going on. You're going to get rid of those. I guarantee you're hitting a lot of big overdraws and you're hitting a lot of big blocks right now. So you're going to get rid of a lot of that stuff. But anyways, in general, I love your backswing. I definitely think downswing needs a lot of work, but your backswing's in a really good position here. You're obviously athletic. I can tell you can hit the ball a long ways. So we just got to get you into a swing that's going to be a little bit more symmetrical, a little bit more matching up with geometry. That way you can start controlling your golf ball. And with your speed, and if you have control over the golf ball, you can be dangerous.